Wow, you would think I'm a rookie at this. Hold on. I'm going to try to fix my other thing on the other side. So that way, in case I need to get on there. Wow. There we go. Hi, everybody. I know this is kind of weird. I'm doing a pop-up thing. Um, hi, Monster Fish Gal, Lori. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Allison. From the UK. That's so awesome. You're all the way from the other side of the pond, checking out little old Papa Shrimp. That's kind of cool. So I got to figure something out here because, again, this is a pop-up, and I thought it was going to be with Brian, but I think he's again stuck doing some chores. So let me see here real quick, and we can listen to the. Well, I don't know if y'all should listen to it, but I'm going to listen.
Look, I told you when you messaged me. I told you I wouldn't be able to do it that early because I had to clean up the front yard. And it would be till this afternoon, this evening. Sorry about that.
Okay, so I guess really what happened was that we're looking at a little miscommunication. So Brian apparently isn't going to be here. So I'm kind of doing this pop-up for fun, I guess, is the best way to put it. So let's make the best of it. And I won't keep you too long because, like I said, I figured we were going to get on together and do some aquatic filtration engineering together and talk shrimp. Yes, water changes, tank maintenance, stuff like that. So I'm trying to get all fancy and call it aquatic maintenance engineering. Seems like a good title. So thank you, ladies. There's 3 of you in here now. So I appreciate it. I know there's other streams going on. I know that Corey's probably doing his members only stream. And I believe Misfits is still streaming. So I guess it's all cool. Hey, Matt, what's going on? Yep, did a pop-up. And once again, thanks to Mr. Brian, I got confused. What I didn't want to do in doing that pop-up was I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing a pop-up during some of the bigger channel streams like KG Tropicals. I mean, I love what they do. So last thing I want to do is be streaming while they're streaming because I'd have no viewers, just like I kind of do now, which is okay. That's all fine and dandy. But I didn't want to be messing around with any of that stuff. I don't like stepping on other people's toes. So I decided not to do it this evening. And I kind of, again, I miscommunicated with Brian. So I figured he'd be done with his chores in time to get on here. I figured he'd be wanting to do some tank stuff and aquarium stuff. But after yesterday, he showed me pictures, and man, he did a lot of work yesterday. Rented lifts, had friends come out, arborists come out. He chopped down a bunch of his trees, doing the spring cleaning, I guess, of the property. So today, he's having to bundle everything up, put it in little 4-foot lengths, and put it out there for the city to come pick it up. So he's a little bit preoccupied at the moment, and we're just going to have some fun, talk some shrimp, because I love shrimp. You know, I can't help it. What's going on, Geek Boy? Yes, so.
I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp? I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
And you know what's crazy is so I do that in my streams. I put that little video up there and do the I love shrimp thing. And I've noticed now that when I look at my channel and just look at the list of videos, that if you scroll your mouse over any of the streams where I've played that video, that's the first thing that pops up in the little preview, in the little, window that it gives you of a preview of what's going on in that stream. So it's funny because when you hover your mouse over any of the live streams, it pops up with that I love shrimp. I love shrimp. So I guess that's helping with the momentum that hashtag I love shrimp has gained. thanks to all of you posting it everywhere. It's fun. And I know, like I said, I know it probably annoys some people, but bah humbug, quit being such a Scrooge and have some fun. It's not like if I'm doing a hashtag Papa Shrimp Rocks or anything crazy like that. It's just about shrimp. So have fun with it. Hey, what's going on, Frank? Yeah, I know. Like I said, it's kind of weird. And today I kind of feel like Rico because I was on the morning show this morning and now I'm doing this pop-up stream here. Brian will probably convince me to do a pop-up stream on his channel later when he's not so busy. So to be on YouTube for most of the day, it's different. Hey, what's going on, Joseph? Working and lurking. And then plus, I kind of wanted to see what it's like on the other side of the time zones. Like, yeah, I mean, what kind of viewers will I have in the afternoon stream versus what I do in the evening? Now, I'm sure most people are working, but maybe not. And maybe some of the international players that are over there that are on their free time versus work time, maybe it'll help out there too. But anyways, I have no real rhyme or reason to do this other than Brian had said, hey, let's do a pop-up today. And this was early this morning when he had said that. So I was like, yeah, sure. And he was like, well, look up the times and see what you want to do. And we'll get together and do it. And I mentioned, yeah, okay, we can do it. And I'll do some tank maintenance while we're talking shrimp and change waters. I got to do some top offs and stuff. And so, yeah, kind of puts me on my own. But again, always love talking shrimp. I love talking about aquariums. So, you know, throw it at me if you've got questions. Allison, I know you were saying that you're working on a shrimple setup that you have, and I explained that I'm working on a video. So I could be working on that video and editing it and getting it ready to publish later, but instead hanging out here with you guys. I'll take care of that video later, but it's I showed it last night on my stream, at least part of it, but that's the kind of setup, especially now that I get into more. I do love my fully scaped tanks as well. That's my favorite part of the hobby, is setting up a tank. But because I've kind of simplified things, shrimplified them, it kind of works better for me. And I think it's something that it's doable for even beginners to grasp hold of the concept of a shrimple setup that will work for almost any strain of shrimp that you want to put in there. Because I even think that even with active substrate, you can put Neos in there. They might not do as well in really soft, low pH water, but they can adjust better to the lower pHs and soft water than the Caradinas can adjust to acidic water, or the other way, alkaline. And high TDS. The Caradinas can't handle it, and they don't do very well. But definitely Neos can go the other way. You think I might need to have your live stream up on my second monitor? Life is good with Papa Shrimp. Awesome. I loved it when I worked from home because I'd do the same thing. I'd have one of my monitors with all my emails and graphs and charts and reports, and then my other one watching YouTube. And then when I'd have my conference calls, we didn't do video conferencing. So it was kind of cool because I had tanks surrounding me in my office. And I'd sit there and be talking to people while I'm pulling out algae or culling my shrimp or whatever. I don't work there anymore, so I don't care if they know. But let's see what Allison is saying. I think I might need to modify my fluval spec first. Might lose shrimplets in the intake vent. Yes, definitely. And I've used the fluval specs. I've used the fluval flexes, and I've really enjoyed them. But you do have to modify them, and there's a couple of ways that you can do it. I'm not sure if the spec comes with the little plastic guard that you put over the vent holes, but if it does, you can use any kind of filter floss, or I use the fluval filter floss pads, and I'll cut them to size and put them inside, and so that way when I put the plastic cap on it, it holds it in place and the shrimplets won't get in there, especially on the top one. On the top one, you do it there, and you won't have too many problems of shrimp getting out in there, but the shrimplets do find a way to get in the back. We'll talk about that in a second. But put it on the top, and then on the bottom one, the bottom vents, it has the bottom vent on the one side next to the top vent, but there's also like a little hole in the center of the plastic backing. So what I usually do to cover those up is I'll just put enough substrate high enough that that backside is covered with substrate, and I don't use the filter floss. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. And then also the flow in the tank is going to be pretty high for shrimp. You can set it however you want to. They don't mind. Trust me, I've had it on the full highest setting and letting it flow into the water right away, and the shrimp are fine with it. But what I prefer to do is to modify the impellers and make it half as strong as the flow by removing 3 of the impeller fins and then adjusting the way the water flows out, or using an air stone to create lift and use it like any other sponge filter, where it pulls the water through and out of the outlet and still pulling the water through the filtration. You printed a baffle for the outlet. Oh yeah, that's right. You were talking about that, how you did that. And that's another good idea. There are some things on Thingiverse for modifying. Oh, really? That's cool. You know, a lot of the times I just like fluval products. So when I first started seeing the flex tanks and the spec tanks, I went crazy. This was before I knew of the $1 a gallon sale. So I just basically went and spent a lot of money for my first 6 tanks. They were all fluvals. I did all the different sizes, whether it was the 9-gallon flex, the 15-gallon flex, the 32-gallon flex. I had a couple of spec. And then I had another fluval that I was using, and plus canister filters. I was trying to do I wanted to promote the product because I really liked it. But I realized shortly after finding many shrimp in the backside. Now, they didn't die or anything because they just get through the holes and they can't get past the sponge. So they're all in the little compartment on the bottom. And so every once in a while, I'd have to catch them and put them back in the front side of the tank. And that gave me the idea to start putting some filter floss in the little covers. And that's what's worked for me. Let's see. Hi. Putting some new fish and plants in all my aquariums. Guppies, albino, and panda cories, boosts, etc. Cool deal. So you're doing some aquatic filtration engineering. Well, I guess it's not filtration engineering. It's aquascaping. Whatever. My 3D printing local friend is making me moss ledges now. Yes, and moss ledges are something that I used to use a bunch of. When I went to my first Aquashella in 2019 in Chicago, I had noticed that there was some really cool acrylic clear moss ledges, but I couldn't ever find them. I couldn't ever find them anywhere. All I'd find was the 3D printed style, or the black ones, or the green ones, or whatever. But when I was working at Flip Aquatics, he had a huge box that he kept for whatever reason and didn't sell on the website. And Jeff and I had always talk about it. I was like, dude, you need to put those on the website because I want to buy some, because I think the clear acrylic moss ledges are kind of cool. I haven't seen any 3D printing doing clear ones, but I mean, there's a lot of people doing the 3D printers. I know that when I was first starting my business and SC Aquatics, Stephen Conroe, him and I hit it off really well in Aquashella, and we were sharing ideas on what to do to build our businesses. And then he got a 3D printer and started making stuff. And him and I went back and forth, you know, sharing ideas on some of the things that he could try to do and make and what would be cool and stuff like that. And I know like MetaView Aquatics, I think that's how you say it, MetaView Aquatics. They do really cool moss ledges and shrimp hides. And they even have a pretty cool feature where you can take, it has the plate, the round plate for the bottom of the moss ledge, but it also has a snap-on. So you can take your moss and put it there inside the little plate, snap on the grid, so that way it'll grow without having to tie everything or glue it or weave it through. So that way it'll be stuck to the moss ledge. So those are kind of cool. But yeah, 3D printing, I wish I had one, because I'd probably make all kinds of things. And of course, it'd take me back to my manufacturing engineering days when we were making parts, metal parts on machines and CNCs and robotics and stuff. So yeah, I'm into that stuff. Frank Basanta. I'm lucky my brother has a 3D printer, and I'm lucky that he does the 3D printing for me. Yeah, that's cool. You can do a lot of stuff with those things, especially small stuff for fish things, you know, or shrimp things. You can do a lot with 3D printers. So I'd love to do it, but that would give me just one more thing that I have to learn and mess with. I already feel like there's so much that I'm trying to learn and get better at, you know, that doesn't pertain to my shrimp, like learning how to do better editing and better thumbnails and working Photoshop and refreshing all of my experiences with coding so I can help with websites. And, you know, it's a lot different today than from where I come from. I mean, I come from punch cards and floppy disks and assembly code and machine language and Fortran and COBOL and Pascal and all of this stuff that I learned when I first started doing computer programming. And now everything's so automated, and it's made so much easier that it's kind of gone past me. Like when for example, when I was working in my shop and I'm doing CNC programming on these machines, you know, $250,000 machines that I'm working on. And they'd say, here's a part. Can you make this? Yeah, sure. Let me go through. And I'd get my pad out. Yes, pad and paper. And I'd get it out and I'd look at the part and I'd make a rough draft of what I'm going to do to it. And then I'd sit down and look at it, okay, and start doing some numbers. And then write out all my code, type it into the computer, and use an RS-232 cable and stick it into the machine. And then I'm hiring guys that are, oh, I'm a CNC programmer. Okay, cool. Well, show me what you know. Well, do you have Mastercam or Gibbs Cam or all of these softwares? And I'm like, no. He was like, well, how do you program your machines? I write down the code and then I send it to the machine. And they look at me like, well, don't you know how do you put in all your tool settings and diameters and dimensions? And I'm like, no, you figure that out. Math. That's how you do that. You don't just click and point and put in numbers and then expect it to work magically, which they did. So, yeah, I don't have time to sit there and learn how to use a software to do what I need to do. And I never learned it. I even sold it for a little while. I sold some badass 3D modeling software called SolidWorks. It's one of the big softwares that engineering companies use. And I sold it. And people would ask me, well, what's this and how? I don't know. You want to know how I do code? I write it down and then I punch it in and then I tweak it and I go. And they're like, how do you do that? Well, the old school way. So yeah, I don't know if I had, like, if I had a 3D printer, I'd probably be spending so much time trying to learn that stuff the hard way. And maybe if I learned how to do stuff the easy way, it'd make my life easier. But I'm still kind of, old school. Even with Photoshop, it still feels like to me I'm hammer and chisel, taking up image and slowly going around and cropping it out. And I know there's an automated way to do it. I just do it the way that I know. You did computer support for our machine shop at Motorola decades ago. Yeah, I get it. They need help, especially with all the stupid softwares. And now that everything's all networked and you got to have connection for updates and this and that. Now you got to have your machines programmed or to wired in so that they're on Wi-Fi too. So that way the big boss could sit at home miles away and look on his little tablet and see if everything's going the way it's supposed to. It's gone crazy. So that's kind of why I got out of manufacturing. It was just, I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea. But I learned a lot doing that stuff. Hey, Jeff, lurking and driving. All right, well, be careful. Yes, it is too early in the day for math talk. Ew, that's nasty. What we need to be talking about.
I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp? I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
There we go. That's more fun. And like I said, I didn't really have much planned because, again, just like last night, I'm thinking Brian's going to be here with me, and he's got 3 months worth of stuff he wants to talk about stored in his brain just from not streaming in a while. So I figured we'd have a really good time, really easy time coming up with stuff to talk about. And I could be, while he's chatting and, hooting and hollering, I could be changing water, moving my water around so that way I could do some tank maintenance. But it's kind of nice to see everybody here during the day. I mean, it's a totally different world for me when I'm on the morning show, because even though I'm usually on the morning show watching, to be on it and be a part of the panel is a little bit different. I'm still trying to have to adjust and make sure that I'm not being crazy me and talking to everybody so they're just sitting there looking at me. But also, I don't want to just be sitting there looking at them while they're doing all the talking. So I'm trying to adjust to that and learn how to stream while I'm still getting my coffee on. What's up, Todd Hill? Dude, we tried to call you the other night, but you didn't answer. You don't know what's going on. Todd Hill is my guitar player in my band that I've been in for 30 years. We don't play much anymore. We don't play at all anymore, except for, every once in a while we get together and jam. But we have big plans. We still, even though we're in our 50s, we all have plans that we're going to do something. We're kind of like Spinal Tap, except that I haven't exploded. My heart has exploded. But it's good to see you, Todd. I hope you're getting better. I'm assuming that you're still at home and not back at work after your issue. That's why you're there. Or are you working and just lurking? Whatever. It's cool that you're here. Good to see you. So yeah, let's talk shrimp. I mean, I noticed Dee Dee got her shrimp from me yesterday. I think Killer Kitty, Holly, she said that she got hers. I think it was today. She sent me an email saying that she got them. What else? I know that June, only Oscars, she should be getting some shrimp soon. And Jess is getting some clown killies that I sent her. So I appreciate all of the support and the orders and everything. It's nice because I had to stop over the winter. It was a big mistake for me to start my business right during holiday shipping season and the cold weather coming. So I learned, and I learned the hard way. And unfortunately, that's the way I like to learn. My wallet does not like me to learn that way, but I'm one of those that I'm stubborn that way, that I got to find out for myself. You can tell me all day long, but I got to find out for myself so that I understand why. And that's kind of what I did. And it cost me a little bit because I did have some deaths. I did have some shipping delays. There was several orders that didn't get there for 10 days. So the shrimp didn't survive. But I've finally been able, with the better weather, the better shipping conditions, the things that I've learned, like I ship on Tuesdays instead of Mondays. That has made a big difference on my estimated arrival time. So that's helped a lot. And then also about how and when to use heat packs or ice packs, or just a way to ship them, how much water to use, all of that fun stuff. So learning all of that has really helped, and I had to do it kind of in a hurry because I can't afford to be losing money. I just can't. I don't have enough other revenue streams to just lose money that way. But I'm glad I did learn what I have learned, and I think that's going to prepare me better for everything coming, in the future. And so I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate all of your patience with my mistakes. But hopefully we make all those mistakes together and we learn together. Just like fish, we are all different and learn in our own ways and do things differently. Yes, very true. And you would figure I'd lose some of the stubbornness by now, but I'm too headstrong when it comes to why not. I have to have those questions answered. And it's even something that in my old job, and Todd can attest to this, that it was kind of not a game, but it was the way that I'd try to get information and understand my technicians like Todd that worked in my region. I try to get into their head and understand. So they'd say, hey, I went to the store and they had a ticket. I had to fix this piece of equipment. And so I changed out the saw blade. And then I'd say, why? And they go, well, because it was broken. Why? Because the operator operated it wrong. Why? And they're like, dude, why the questions? Well, it's because I was trying to get it across through to them that why did the saw blade break? Is it a bad blade? Was it misused and they need more training? Is it a matter of they just replaced it because that was the only thing that they could think of that was wrong with it, and they didn't go through the troubleshooting process? So I asked 5 whys. Always 5 whys. Because by the 5th why, they're either so annoyed with having to answer the questions, or they've realized in their brain thinking about it, they go, oh, I see what you're getting at. Well, an employee was brand new. He just started that day. He was cutting some pressure treated wood, which is not meant for that saw. And that's why the blade broke. Okay, so then we got to do some training. We replace the blade and we show them what woods to cut and not to cut. Right. And now we have a solution to the problem. So yes, why is very important to me. And I use it all the time because it helps me understand things. That's when he went to the bathroom. Yeah, because I did this on our meeting a lot. We'd have a weekly meeting with the entire region. And I'd go through these questions and I'd ask them the 5 whys. Oh, cool. Thanks, Frank. So yeah, Todd would leave And most of the guys, they'd roll their eyes, why? And exactly why? You want to understand why I'm asking you these questions. And maybe if you'd answer the questions right, you'd understand why I'm asking you these questions. And that's important to me, is understanding the whys. So why is this method better than that method when it comes to your tanks? Why is this the wrong way versus this other way? I like to understand those because it makes it easier for me to share what I know about it if I understand the whys. I could read you a list of what it tells me or what everybody else has told me, but I won't really be 100% confident in what I'm telling you unless I understand the whys. So, yeah, fun stuff. A good shrimp related question. So, I don't know how many of you pay attention to all of the shrimpy stuff. You may do it every once in a while, probably not as much as I do. One of the trends I'm noticing that's really picking up and taking shape is the under gravel filtration Asian method style for shrimp tanks. And it's basically where you have pretty much a bare bottom aquarium and you build a box with no vent holes or anything, and you put a small under gravel filter in it, and you top it off with filter media and the active substrate. And what this does is, because the water's continually flowing through that substrate, it tends to be a more stable environment for the active substrate versus it's just on the bottom and it's just sitting there, no water's flowing through it, so it's not really helping buffer the pH. I think that is the logic behind it. So with these boxes and having the under gravel filtration with the active substrate, that apparently the Asian breeders, who are some of the best in the freaking world at breeding shrimp, they're trying to use that style more. But I want to understand the whys. And here's the thing for me on it, is that why is that a more efficient system? Okay. Is it because the water is flowing through the substrate and so it keeps the pH stable, or more stable than it would just being at the bottom of the tank? Is it because that style of filtration will probably drastically reduce the amount of planaria and other critters that tend to hide out in the substrate? Well, they won't do that anymore because the water's flowing through there. Is that part of it? And why wouldn't a regular under gravel filter that you put in an aquarium that covers the entire bottom, why wouldn't that work in the same way? Because I've always been a big proponent of under gravel filtration. I know it seems like old school technology, but that's one of the most simple, effective ways to filter your water using the substrate. I mean, why go through the ordeal of putting a hang on the back filter, filling it full of filter floss and substrate, because some people do that, and filter media, when you could just do it through the under gravel filter? And when I first started doing the under gravel filters, that was one of the things that I liked about it, was that if I put a big giant heavy rock, it's not sitting with pressure points on my glass. It's got a protective buffer. So that was another reason why I liked using those. Let's see. Mark Shrimp is changing over to that. I know that I've seen that he's been doing that in some of his tanks. He's been switching over to that. I know that he has tried all kinds of different things about filter placement, where he's had videos where he shows he just drops the filter directly in the center of the tank to provide more 360 oxygenation and filtration. The method right now, what most people are calling it, is the Asian under gravel filter method. It's just an under gravel filter box. Basically, you build a box, however size, that fits the under gravel filters. And I have a link on my, just not on this description, but on all of my videos and my affiliate links. I put a link in there for the ISTA under gravel filter. That's the one that most of the shrimpers use because it's the right size to put in a 6x6 box. Some people are building them out of glass. Some people are buying containers and modifying the filter to fit in there, different stuff. But basically, some people are also doing a whole separator. Like they'll take a piece of glass that's 4 or 5 inches high and as wide as the tank, and then they'll put it in there in the back half of the tank, silicone it in, and then put the under gravel filters back there, and you have a little ledge that's full of substrate and media filter or filter media, whatever they use, and try to do it that way. And the rest of the tank, like I said, is basically bare bottom, maybe a few granules. You don't worry about it too much because the point of the system is to keep it very clean in the tank portion and using the substrate and the filtration and water flow through the substrate to buffer the pH. I'm not sure exactly. I've seen tons of videos. If you look up UGF shrimp tanks, you'll find it. Mark seems very happy with it. Yeah, and I think it was like a month or two ago when he set up a couple of tanks with that specifically. But I thought he had, I'm not sure if I'm mixing that up or confusing it with where he was trying the fluval stratum. But I think that's the tanks that he was doing it in, was in those with fluval stratum. The glass for plexi to separate. Yeah. And honestly, there's looking at one from Major Shrimp that looks like a nightmare to service. Well, see, that's the whole thing. And that's why I think, again, why is this catching on in such great popularity? So here's my thinking. The simplest, fastest way to do it, yes, go get one piece of glass, have it cut, put it in my tank, silicone it in place, and boom, I'm done. Right? That's the simplest way to do it. One of the best things I think that I'm seeing is the actual box itself. You build the box, you place the box in your tank, you fill it with your substrate and the filtration system, and you plug it in. When it comes time to replace, service, or change out your substrate because it's been in there for a couple of years and it's lost its ability to buffer the substrate, you take out that box and you grab another one and put it in. And you're good to go. Done. Easy. That seems like a really cool deal. And some of the people that I've been watching and seeing posts on Facebook or whatever it may be, that's something that like what I do with sponge filters, as far as having them in other tanks running. And so that way, when I set up a new tank, I can take that, put it in the new tank, and voila, instant cycle. Not really, but close to it. Same thing with those under gravel filter boxes. People are putting them in their other tanks and they let them cycle. So that way, when the tank that needs to be changed, they just take the box out and take the other box, put it in, plug it in, good to go. So that's something that, it interests me. So is that one of the whys of why people are going to that style? How much does it have to do with you get better breeding and better fry survival? That's kind of what I'm interested too. How does it affect that, and why is that better? So something that I've thought about a lot is that when you have a regular tank and it's sitting there, the ability for bad bacteria to accumulate and kind of sour your tank over time, that's one of the reasons why I think an under gravel filter would be a preferred method. But for some shrimpers that really feel that you have to replace your substrate every 6 months or every year or whatever it may be, then you basically have to reset your tank from scratch every time you want to change your substrate. So, it's kind of half and half. And then really, I think that they're getting better at the substrate and understanding what to do to make it to where it doesn't deplete so fast. And it buffers your substrate better. And then also, what kind of water are you putting in to begin with? So all of these questions come into play about the filtration of, I want to do one just so that I can figure out why. Why is this so popular and does it really work? Oh, let's see. Papa, were you talking about big tanks? You wouldn't use the system in a small tank. No, it'd be in small tanks. Not necessarily for big ones, because I don't think many shrimpers keep big tanks. But yeah, it would be in a small tank. For example, I've noticed a lot of people, because it's very difficult to find a pre-made box that fits these filters that you could put in your aquarium to use this style for shrimp tanks. So people are making them. They're doing DIY. They're finding different ways. So I'm trying to find easy ways. Okay. Everybody that I've been watching, they do a 6x6 box that they put in their tank, and that's what they use. So the closest thing I could find off the shelf was one of these edgelets. Now I'm trying to find the rimless, because I want to see if the rimless ones, or frameless, whatever they call them. What do they call them? Rimless. Yeah, I'm trying to see if the 1 gallon is a 6x6. This one's a 6.5 by 6.5 by 7.25. All right, but it's a pre-made box already. Of course, I wouldn't spend $50 on a box that I'm going to use as a filter, so that's why I haven't used this yet, because I'm still trying to decide what I want to do. But that's why I also go and I look at the stores, I look at containers, I look at all these different things, and I'm trying to find ways that I could come up with to provide a solution for that problem of the actual box itself. I've looked at potters, like the glass square pots that they have. I've tried very many different things. Closest thing I found so far has been at Walmart. It's one of those containers. Now, what I don't like about it, or why I think I'm going to have to modify, is because the corners are rounded, but it's the exact size that I need. It's about 4.5 inches tall, 6x6 on the sides. So if the corners need to be rounded, I could do that easily with my Dremel and put it in there and use that. And that would be something that's ready-made. You don't have to go and cut glass to size and fit it, glue it, all that fun stuff. But I'm trying to find some of those things, or try to find a source to get those made. I know that there's sources across the pond. So Allison, you may be in luck and be able to find some over there in the UK, because I know that's really popular over there. So I'm trying to find out. Even Joe from Joe's Shrimp Shack had talked about, he has an under gravel filter box filter, and I've thought about using that too. Why not just fill it with substrate and put it in the tank in an area where it's pulling from the bottom, because I know they have those too. At Papa Shrimp, Aqueon frameless 6.5 by 6.5 by 6.5. Okay, yeah, this edgelet one is 6.5, 6.5 by 7.5 or 7.25. So it's a little bit taller than I want. But good to know. I saw one at the store and I looked at it and I was like, ooh, that'd be a good size. And then squirrel, I was looking off in the other area, and actually it was the Petco girl. She's kind of cute, and I kind of attracted to her. So she started talking to me, and I forgot all train of thought and walked out of the store without even getting one. So Allison says it sounds a bit complicated. I get it. And I understand. You're trying to keep it shrimple. So that's why I don't have it. So far, again, I'm still trying to understand the whys. Why would that be beneficial? Why does it work if it works? All that kind of stuff. But I don't really, again, keeping it simple. A sponge filter, and I'm happy. I even sometimes think that even though I use Matten filters, those tanks up at the top and these tanks at the bottom all have Matten filters from Flip Aquatics. I used to think that was the bee's knees. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. That's so simple. You just put it back there and you have a background already. It doesn't matter what the back of the tank looks like. You got a background. And you can put all kinds of stuff back there. Nobody will ever see it. And so those are great. But you can't find Matten filters at the local pet store. Same thing with sponge filters. Very few and far between actually keep the double sponge filter types that I use in my tanks. You might be able to find some of the small corner filters. You might be able to find some Aquatop filters or, whatever the case may be. But most of the store, like even the box stores, you won't find any sponge filters in the stores down here anyways. And they all have the same AquaClear stuff that they've had for eons. And that's where I've mentioned it before. If I was going to get an AquaClear or Fluval filter, I'd want one of the new ones that they have, not the AquaClear. Try not to get myself too wet. And this thing's dirty because I've been using it. But this is the Fluval one. And what I like about the Fluval one, it's still AquaClear, but it's just Fluval. It has a little media basket right here on the front. So you have an area there that holds your carbon pad, and you have the media box up here. And then also there's another sponge, I think, that goes in there. And then you have this compartment that has this sponge with a fine sponge and a coarse sponge. So it's basically 5-stage filtration. You can take this out and wash it out. I've been using this same pad. It looks all dirty and nasty right now. But once I put the water on it, it turns back white. And then I put it back in. And the water goes up through like a regular. It goes over this little media basket, comes out the bottom here. And it works really good. But I don't see those. I don't see them anywhere in any of the stores that I've gone to. They all still have the old style AquaClear with the Fluval. This is a Fluval C3. I believe it's from 30 to 50 gallons. So that's, the C series filters. And I really like those. And I've thought about the hang-on back filters with the built-in heaters. But again, since I don't use heaters much, I don't really have a need for it. So again, part of what I do is trying to figure out what works for me in the way that I use it. And then hopefully, I can come up with some pretty cool ideas. I use that one hang-on back filter. I use it when I reset my tanks. So let's say I go in there, I clean out the tank, wash it out, and it's got all kinds of debris floating in it. I stick that on there. By the next day, the water's clear. I take it off, move it to another tank. Works out great. But I don't see those anywhere at any of the stores. All I see is the old ones. Dr. Anthony, he's got a pallet of Matten filter material. It's good stuff, and I like it, except for when it comes time to clean. That's always been a big deterrent with me, and I think even Rob at Flip Aquatics went through where they changed out all of their Matten filters from being black to being the cream color. That way they'd have a better idea of when the sponge itself needs to be cleaned. So, hold on, I got a cough, so I'm going to mute it. So, Matten filters, as much as I like the simplicity of the concept and the entire filter being just a surface area for bacteria for the shrimp to munch on, I think that that's great. But again, when you go to take those out, then you basically have to reset all of your stuff because your substrate falls, gets behind there, and then it won't sit down right. So might as well just take the whole thing apart, take all the substrate out, reset it. Hey, what's going on, aka Rob? Brooklyn. So yeah, it sucks to clean for sure. Look at Dee Dee. She's practicing her Spanish. El gusto es mío, Dr. Anthony. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, why I like double sponge filters? Again, they're simple, they're easy. When I compare my tanks that I have with a regular sponge filter, I use the Aquatop sponge filters, the small ones. I think they're -25 classic Aquatops. I like those because of the size of coarseness on the sponge itself. It's not so big like other sponge filters I've seen recently that even tiny fry can swim through the sponge. It's not that coarse, and it's not as fine as like a double sponge filter or the normal sponge filter materials that are really, really fine. These have to be cleaned quite a bit, more often than you would think because they get clogged up really fast. But the Aquatop one is like a medium coarse. It's not as fine as these, but not as coarse as the newer ones that I've been seeing lately. So I like those. But I have noticed that my aquariums that have the Aquatop filters versus double sponge filters, I seem to have more issues with the Aquatop filters. And I don't think it's the filter. I don't think it's the coarseness of the holes. I just think that the double sponge filters are more effective, at least for my purposes. That's what I've seen anyway. So, I missed your comments. Let me see, Brooklyn. You said that Papa Shrimp. That Papa Shrimp. What comments? I don't see any comments, Brooklyn, other than hi. Oh, okay. I see. I kind of have that in my tanks. I used day crate and filled it with media balls, then built my hardscape. Okay, I get it. So yeah, and like I said, it's not really a matter of, well, I don't know for sure. That's what I'm trying to find out the whys. I want to know why is it that my tanks with double sponge filters seem to be doing way better than my tanks with the Aquatop filters? Or is it a matter of that my Aquatop filters usually had fish in it and my double sponge filters usually had shrimp in it? So two different kind of environments, the amount of detritus and whatever builds up in a fish tank versus a shrimp tank, maybe that makes a difference too. Yeah, I was talking about the filtrations, and I was kind of talking about trying to understand why the trend of the Asian undergravel filter for shrimp tanks is becoming so popular. I'm seeing it posted everywhere. There's a group on Facebook called Shrimp Pimpin', and everybody on there is trying to go to that, and I'm not sure if that's one of those things where it's because the Asians are using it and doing well with it, and they're some of the best breeders in the world, that's why everybody else wants to do it, or why I want to find out for myself. And I think being able to put a tank with a regular sponge filter, a tank with an undergravel filter, and a tank with a double sponge filter, and then finding out for myself, I'll probably get a pretty good idea of why or why not. And that's something that I like to do because, again, I don't feel comfortable sharing information if I don't know for sure myself. I don't want to just talk out my butt and spread a bunch of lies. So That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out, because it's, it's one of those things. I know Vin is one of the best shrimp producers, breeders in the world. And when I watch his videos, the last one that I watched, he's talking about he likes the deep substrate, all the way across the bottom of the tank, and he loves it. So why does Vin not use the undergravel filter method where supposedly everybody else does? So that's kind of why like I said, I want to know why is this better? Why is this not better? And then understanding, I think it all depends on the water we're putting in our tanks, right? So I could do a method a certain way and you follow the exact same method, but you don't have the success I do, because we're starting off with two different worlds of water. And that's the most important ingredient in our aquariums, is the water. So if I'm starting off with well water that's really soft and low minerals, and I'm putting that in my tank, and you're starting off with tap water that you got to put all kinds of chemicals to get rid of the chlorine and chloramines and all that stuff, then we're already talking apples and oranges, right? I mean, as simple as it seems, yes, we're talking apples and oranges just because we're talking two different sets of water conditions. And again, that's the most important ingredient in any aquarium, is the water. Short on likes. Yeah, please hit that like. That does, honestly, and whatever anybody tells you, the likes will help our efforts as streamers more than anything else. Sharing will help. And then also rewatching and adding comments. That kind of engagement in our streams is more helpful than 100 subs. I mean, I love 100 subs, but I know that 100 subs are going to go away, real fast, just as fast as they came in. But the likes and the comments and the engagement, that's what YouTube, I think, is looking for more. So help out where you can, like, comment, share, rewatch. I try to rewatch as much as I can and go back and at least leave comments so that people know that I watched it, or that I'm saying hello, or that I'm trying to support by leaving a comment. So that way, maybe they'll get some recognition. And then lately I've been doing a lot of hashtag I love shrimp. So that's going to be a whole hashtag on itself, on its own, just hashtag I love shrimp. And that's, like I said, thanks to everybody who's having fun with it. It's taken off. Different strokes for different folks. Yeah, ain't that right? Oh no, going into lurker mode. I have to drive to pick my son up from school. All right, well, be safe out there. Who farted? You love garlic shrimp. Hey, garlic shrimp's good. I don't like coconut shrimp because I'm not a big fan of coconut. So thanks for being on during daytime hours finally. Yeah, I know. And 6 months ago, I think it was 6 months ago, when me and Jason started streaming, it was the only day of the week that we could actually sit down and start streaming after work hours, with him not having any family activities or stuff like that. And then so when we found the 7 o'clock slot, I didn't want to let it go. I mean, I was like, that's a perfect time. There's no reason to not have it at that time for us. And when he didn't stream, like the second week we were going to have a giveaway, he didn't stream, but I went ahead and streamed on my channel because I didn't want to lose the time slot. And I kind of just went from there as keeping it at that 7 o'clock slot, because I thought it was a really good time to do it. Now, over the months that I've been doing it, I've learned, for some people it's a little bit more difficult. But I wish I could change it around, but I don't really think it's appropriate to move stuff from what we're getting used to as pretty consistent setup on Wednesdays. And my other reason for keeping it at that time was because I didn't want to interfere with Rob's stream in the morning, or Joe's stream after Rob, or Jess's stream after Joe. And then I knew there was afternoon stuff going on. So I figured, hey, I'll keep that slot at 7 o'clock. It's a good slot right before Dan's Fish and before prime time. So yeah, that's kind of, but I do know some people like Joseph Stanley has date night. And I know that you have family time that you're trying to take care of when evening comes around. So I get it. But hey, at least, and I know it's not as fun, but you can always go back and be part of the replay crew. And that's something that I do appreciate all of you that go back and watch it later. I appreciate all the comments. It's fun. Allison was texting me today or messaging me on my stream from last night. So hopefully I'm going to do this video later on today. I'm going to edit it, and it's nothing major, but it gives you a good idea of a simple shrimpscape. And that's kind of the way I look at things now. Like I said, part of keeping it shrimple. Did it just show you that I shared it out? No. I don't know where it would show me that. Would it be in the YouTube studio or something? I don't know. Y'all were talking about that this morning, and I don't think I've ever looked to see the shares. Now, I do know on Facebook you can see how many people engaged, how many people commented, how many people shared. But as far as YouTube, I haven't paid attention. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I wish Rob would come back too. I try to hit him up and say, hey, make sure everything's going okay. See how him and Amanda are doing, and Baby Flip. I miss those guys. I really enjoyed working with them up there. Learned quite a bit about the way they do things up there. It's an impressive facility. One thing that I do know, and hopefully, Rob, some way you're out there listening, watching, but really the whole setup up there, the way that they've got things going is just, it's amazing to see what they were doing. And this was a year and a half ago when I was working there, but it was amazing to see the way that they had things done. And then if I went and, I mean, there's a lot of ideas that we brainstormed while I was there. And there was all plans for the future. The only thing that we had going on actively of changes at Flip was building the plant racks. I was there during concept to inception to actual build, and got to see that whole thing go from a wide open warehouse to, I think, what was it, 48? Yeah, it was 48 40-gallon aquariums that we filled with plants. Now, I know it's changed since that, but it's cool to see that all the things that we talked about are coming into play. I'd really love to see the breeder tanks get back more focused, but I know having a baby, and anybody can attest to it, it's not as easy as you would think. And not because child rearing is so difficult, but when you're a new parent, I mean, your life is turned upside down. Admit it. I mean, I didn't know what the heck I was doing with my first kid, but by my third kid, I knew a lot better, or at least I thought I did, and I didn't freak out as much. But like they say, third time's a charm, right? Oh, my other sons hate me. No, they don't. But yeah, I'd love to see Rob doing stuff more actively on his streams and talking about all the stuff, because he's done a lot of stuff since I've been there. And it used to just come up as a flash notification. Yeah, it didn't come up or anything. But yeah, I miss Rob. I miss hearing about what all they have going on. And it kind of stinks that the only way to see what's going on is to go to his website, and see what they have on there. But yeah, it's phenomenal. That place up there, it's just, it's a pretty cool setup, you know. A lot of aquariums, a lot of big aquariums, and thousands and thousands and thousands of shrimp. Joseph, your wife gets mad when you're wearing an earbud during date night? Psh, come on. No, I get it. She's sitting there talking about some life-altering decision that she wants to make with you, and you're over there going, yeah, yeah, I love shrimp. What'd you say, baby? As the second child, I'm pretty sure the saying really should be second time's the charm. Yeah, right. I'm the second child. Second time's the charm. Of course, we didn't have a third. I don't have a brother or a little brother or sister, so say what you will. But cool. I'm glad everybody did come and join me. Have I been going for an hour already? Wow, that went fast. I'm sure if Brian would have been here, we probably would have been on a lot more. Let me see. I got a message from somebody. Aw. Okay. Cool. 2 kids and no more ever. If I get broody, I'll get more fish. See, I don't know how you do that, Rob, because even yesterday I was reading something. It was 2 concurrent chats, and I was trying to read both of them at the same time, and I muddled my words. So I can't listen and talk without saying what I'm hearing or vice versa. Does that make sense? Yeah. Keep it simple, man. I love shrimp. My mom was planning on having 2 kids. I came first. She said, no more, ever. Yeah, and I had my first 2 sons. That's why I was so glad of my second son, because I was like, well, forever, ever, no matter what, they will have each other. And they will always have their brother to have their backs. No matter what happens with me and mom, they have each other's backs. And I did great for 9 years. And then I had my third. And boy, that was really, I was sitting there thinking, oh no, here we go again. But it's been so awesome. It's been so awesome having my third. And again, he'll be here next week, or I actually go pick him up tomorrow in Sherman, or north of Sherman at the Oklahoma border, because that's where the bus from Arkansas comes to drop off all the kids that go to that school. And me and a few other parents pick up our boys and then go home for the week. So he'll be here all week. He's probably right now playing NHL hockey on PS4, because he is playing or competing in the online world championship. So that's kind of cool. We wanted so badly to do it last year, but he missed the date to sign up by 1. So hopefully we get him in. We got him in. He already signed up. He's already, I think yesterday, started the open play rounds. So hopefully, man, I'm so excited for him, because he's been working on being a gamer, a professional gamer, for years now, probably 7-8 years that he's been saying that that's what he wanted to do. He even went to school and took some esports classes. He got esports scholarships, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, he's big into that. I hope this works out well for him. That's going to be kind of cool. I'm hoping that my internet connection when he gets here is good enough for him to be able to play, or I might have to run to the neighbor's house and hook him up with some Ethernet cables or something, so that way he doesn't have much lag. But we'll see how all that goes. Let's see. Careful Fox. How you doing, Careful Fox? What product do you use for shrimp life and the tank water? Okay, so that's a pretty good question. I understand it. Maybe other people may not that are just getting into shrimp, but there's all kinds of things that you could use for your shrimp life and the tank water. Now, I haven't tried any of the like. There's a what's the something Stason. Um, it's for the red shrimp. It's methotracin. I don't know. I forget what it's called. But that stuff, there's a food for it. It's basically like feeding your shrimp um, carrots, the beta carotene. This other stuff, I know what it is, but I can't forget it. That's also good. There's also another food for the shells to help them get thicker, stronger shells. What I use mainly is I use nitrifying bacteria, blue crown nitrifying bacteria. And for my remineralizer, I use the blue crown remineralizer. I used to use the Brightwell remineralizer and the Brightwell uh, Florobactin, Florobacter, I think is what it's called, something like that. I've used that before. Um, as far as I know, so far, I haven't had much issue on shrimp life. I talked about it last night that one of my shrimp died in my tank up here, but I've had that shrimp for over 2 years, so it probably went through its life cycle. The main thing that I could say for the best for shrimp life and tank water is to keep it clean as much as possible. Use RO water, use the proper remineralization if needed. Doesn't always need it because when your water evaporates, it doesn't take out the solids. So a lot of times you can get away with just top offs, but keep your sponge filter clean. That's really one of the most important things is keep your sponge filter clean. That'll help the oxygenation in your tank. It'll help everything thrive. And you do want little bitty tiny microorganisms thriving in your aquarium because the shrimp can feed off of that and those and the algae without ever having to need supplemental food products. Hope that answers your question. Let's see. Talking about family. Jimmy from Aquarium Co-op was a pro gamer. Yeah, I remember learning that about him way back when. And I tried to talk to him, but of course, he didn't know who the heck I was. And I'm sitting there talking, and he's just looking at me like, yeah, whatever, dude. But yeah, I remember learning that about him. And when I was hanging out there at Flip Aquatics last year, that was one of the things. We were still in the midst of the pandemic. So I was giving Rob a hard time because I was like, dude, really? You're coming on Facebook and you're live streaming gaming, playing Call of Duty, but you're not doing any live streaming for Flip Aquatics? And he was like, yeah, well, I'm just, I'm trying to get my gamer on. And he did. And so I thought that was kind of funny. But I always told him, I was like, you need to get with my son. I bet you he'll kick your butt. And Rob was like, nah. And they had a little, because the guys there, Rob, Mike, and I think Jeff would get online and play. But he said Mike would always, what do they call that? Angry quit. Whatever, rage quit. Yeah, he'd rage quit. Mess up the game for everybody. I used SL Aqua Black, more Aqua Vital for shrimp. Okay. What's up, Garcia? And Bacter AE. Yes, Bacter AE. Planet buffering substrate. Oh, you watched Rob with the Call of Duty? Yeah, I think that's what it was. Rob and Mike and Jeff, they'd get on there. They'd leave work and they'd be like, okay, tonight we're going to get on. And then the next morning I'd hear and Mike would be all grumpy and they'd be like, dude, why'd you leave? No, screw that, man. F this. Oh, God. It was like rage quit. And they'd be like, yeah. He's a good guy. He's very young, and I'd always try to talk to him and try to cheer him up. But he wasn't going for that. And I know it annoyed him because there I am at 6:30 in the morning with my coffee. Hey, how's it going? Good morning. And he'd be like, hey, man, isn't this the dream? We're living the dream. We're here at Flip Aquatics. How bad can life be? I'll let you know when I'm ready. I'll probably start the shrimp tank. All right, cool deal. Yeah, let me know. I mean, like I said, I got that video that I want to put out so that way Allison can see a nice shrimp setup that isn't overwhelming. It's not overcomplicated, but I think would work really, really good. And that's kind of why I want to share this stuff, because I've gone both ways. I've said that before. I've gone the other way or other route before, where I will overcomplicate my tank and I will scape it and I'll put rock piles and driftwoods and everything all, curled in together and putting all the hides. And then after a couple of months, when everything's all grown through, I can't get a net in there without destroying something, and it pulls out, and then all of the substrates all moved over and it gets, yeah. So certain tanks I have set up, like I have a tank over here that's, you can't see it. It's right here. You can just see the end of it. But that one's like my display tank. I have a video called How I Set Up My Caridina Tank. That one shows that scape, and that one's a little more complex than any of my other ones. All the rest of mine are pretty simple because I've either had fish that we were selling at the store, or I have shrimp in there that I'm pulling from, or I'm starting to like the clean, simple, but effective look a lot better. Trust me, I love the fully complex scapes that I see. I love them, love them, love them. But at the same time, is it for me personally? Yeah, I want a tank. I want a nice big tank that I can set up and have as my display tank. But for these tanks, all of my tanks on the rack, it's just a lot easier. It's easier to maintain, keeping them as simple as possible. And if I could, I'd just have plants and no filtration if I had enough plants to do that with. And I probably wouldn't plant them all in the substrate. It really depends. I like using the potters. That works really well because if I need to move stuff around, I can move it around without it disturbing the substrate. Unless the roots grow under and out of the pot and into the substrate, well then, yeah. I mean, I have a plant sitting right there. It's on the front, right there. That one, and the reason it's not planted right now is because I took it out of the tank, I cleaned the tank, and I put it back in, but it's got about this long of roots that are coming out of it. So yeah, fun. I was the only female and the worst player. There was when Rob was doing his stuff from Call of Duty, I think he did a collab video with one of the female pro gamers or something. And I started watching her, and she was crazy good at it. But most of that stuff, I have to go to my son because I'm so far disengaged from that stuff. I mean, the only reason I really got into the esports stuff was because my son forced it on me. He was like, look, Dad, this is real. There's people making money. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Video games are stupid, which I didn't really believe because I played video games my whole life. But, well, since I was 15. But him showing it to me and getting me involved with understanding the money and the complexity of esports, and then watching Mark Cuban go and buy a facility that used to be a convention center and he turned it into an esports stadium. And then colleges have scholarships. And then he goes to school his junior year and comes back and says, oh, yeah, Dad, I got on the esports team. And I'm like, esports team? I'm like, no, wait a minute. And then I went to the meeting and they were like, yeah, this is all UIL approved. It's UIL certified. They get credits for classes to do this and they could win potential scholarships. And I was like, what? Wow. So, yeah, it's cool seeing all of that and the way it's turned and the way it's progressed. Have to jump Zoom call in 10 minutes. Hey, thanks, Frank. Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. That's 2 days in a row that you've been on my stream. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate all the love and support, man. All the way from NYC. That's cool. That's just like Allison, all the way from the UK. That's cool. Ooh, Papa Shrimp is going international. Woohoo! I felt the same way when Mark from Mark Shrimp Tanks went on one of my videos and was like, Papa Shrimp. And I was like, yeah, Mark, cool deal. Just checking out my stuff. I'm gone international. No, video games when I was young was book, 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 Pong. And I think my actual first text-based video game was, oh crap, Miser. That was the very first text-based video game that I played and started getting into that world. But of course, like that was like in 86. No, crap. That was in 84. It was in 1984 when I started programming and getting into the computer world. So, yeah. Video games were much different back then. The single white console with 2 knobs. Yeah, exactly. Boop. With the little turning knob. Oh, that's why I thought it was so cool when Activision came out. And then you got the little pitfall guy, you know. Oh, man. So much fun. All this. I can't do shooters, and that's why I don't do any of the Call of Duty. Or I think my boys, when they were my older boys, when they first got into Xbox. Was it Xbox? Yeah, there was Xbox, and they got into Halo. And their graphics looked really cool. And they're like, hey, Dad, come check it out, man. Come play with us. And I'm like, okay, sure. And I start trying to play, and I'm like, Dad. And I'm like, wait, how come when I try to go down, it looks up, and when I look up, it looks down, and when I go right, it goes left. And I was like, I got to hold this remote all kind of funky. What are all these buttons for? So, yeah, that kind of just, I was like, nope, too much stuff. I mean, it was crazy enough when Nintendo went to the controller with like 16 buttons on it and triggers. And I was like, really? I'm playing Mario and Zelda. Why do I need all of this other stuff? I'm just trying to, I got to look at the yellow Y button in order to shoot my bow and arrow. Wait, I want to drop a bomb, so I got to hit the trigger and the B button. Yeah. Do the pitfall guy get? Oh, Lordy, you're making me blush. You were 4 years old. Wow, youngster. All right, son. I say. Yeah, cartoons were even better back then. I don't care what they say. I've been watching these new cartoons that kids are. Oh my God, really? And they're saying Bugs Bunny was violent. What about the stuff they're showing? Oh, just no. I'm sorry. I don't get it. That was when stuff was cool back then. MTV was cool. It had actual music videos, and you learned about bands, not the real world and reality TV. They should change the name. It shouldn't be music television. I think they probably already have. That's how far from that I am. Yes, the Atari 5200. What's up, Eduardo? Oh, no. Wait, let me answer this question. I have snails in my tank. If so, what kind? Oh, actually, I have all different kinds. I have trumpet snails. I like to use trumpet snails because they really get in the substrate and keep things clean down there. Bladder snails, pond snails, ram's horn snails. It really depends on what I'm doing. I used to have a big time fear of snails, but I like snails now a lot more because I don't ever get overrun with them. And if I do, I've learned how to do it naturally. Like I have some loaches, yo-yo loaches, and all I got to do is take them, put them in a tank. Snails are gone if I want to get rid of them. The other thing is my German rams. They love the snails, so I like to catch snails and put them in the tanks with the German rams, and they take care of them. So, I mean, I don't keep any mystery snails. Again, I don't know enough, and from what I've seen already, I need to learn a little bit more in order to care for them properly. I don't. Last thing I want to do is get animals in and then they die because I'm an idiot. Programmable controls. Yes, but what's even crazier now, um, like I bought my son an Alienware computer a couple of years ago, and this was to show him how much I supported his efforts in being a pro gamer. So I bought him the biggest, baddest computer possible, and then he was like, "Well, I really need a keyboard." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, a keyboard, no problem. I'll look it up on Amazon." He was like, "No, Dad." And I was like, "What do you mean? I can't just go buy you a keyboard?" He goes, "Well, it depends on what kind." And I was like, "What do you mean depends on what?" I want a gamer keyboard that has analog, mechanical, digital buttons with LED lighting, and you can program it into 256 different color patterns, and you can make each button do exactly how you want to do it based on. And I was just like, so in other words, I got to spend $200 on a freaking keyboard, right? Not just the $49.99 set of keyboard and mouse. He was like, "Yep, you got to get the big badass one." So yeah, talk about crazy stuff. I ain't afraid of no snails, Brad. Yeah, I'm afraid of snails, huh? How's your arm feeling, Brian? Is it shaky because you've been doing so much? Oh, I'm so sore. Trust me, I've been there, done that. I remember one time I was out doing some yard work, and I have a bad shoulder from playing the drums. I had surgery on it years ago, but I'm sitting out there with these shears trying to trim my hedges, and I got to one, I guess you would say, branch that was really thick, and I was sitting there and I was trying to cut it and trying to cut it, and I went through it, and I was like, "Ow, that felt a little funny." So I finished doing all of the hedges and moved on. And, I got to the point to where I was trying to do it, and I'm so shaky from being sore and tired, and my arms are just barely hanging on anymore. So I finally get to the last one, and I cut it, right? And then, so I cut it, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. I take off my gloves, and I reach in my pocket, because I like wearing shirts like this with pockets. So I reach into my pocket to grab my cigarettes, and I was kind of like, "Ow, that hurt." Got the cigarette, and I went to put it in my mouth, and I was like, so I lifted my hand up, put it in my mouth, and I'm like, "What the heck?" And I couldn't do it. I was shaking so much from all of the work that I had been doing. I didn't realize I did that much, but then I had kind of tweaked my shoulder. I had to go get some steroid shots and go through therapy, all kinds of stuff from it, but I couldn't even put the cigarette up to my mouth. I had to put my mouth down to my cigarette. It hurt so bad. It was crazy stupid. I don't think you're that bad, Brian, but I know you were saying you're pretty darn sore, huh? Woohoo! Acclimating new arrivals from Jess. Cool deal. Oh, yes, I know, Allison. I did that. I spent $750 for a freaking chair. Yeah. And I love my son and I want to support him as much as possible. So that's why I did the stuff that I did. I wanted him to know that I supported his interests because I didn't get the same from my parents when I told them I wanted to be a drummer. They were like, you're crazy, you know, and I had to do everything on my own. So I didn't want my son to feel that way. So I did everything and I bought one of those chairs. And I like, you know, first thing he did when he was putting it together, he broke one of the little pieces. But hey, you know, whatever. I wanted to scream and yell at him, but it's his chair. So I let him do it. He put that thing together and then I went to go sit on it one day. I think he was gone and I wanted to do something on his computer. So I went in there and I sat down on that chair and I went, holy smokes. It's probably the most comfortable chair I've ever sat in. And I've sat in some really nice office chairs that they have in corporate offices and, you know, fancy hotels and stuff like that. No, those gamer chairs are outstanding. And I need one in here. I mean, they're just awesome. They're worth the money. I know people think, yeah, you're crazy. Chairs aren't worth $700, $800, $1,000. Yes, they are. They can be, because just like a new mattress, you know, I don't care what, you know, I know they're expensive, but changing your mattresses out and going from the same mattress you've had since you were 15 versus a brand new one, worlds of difference. You'll actually sleep. Maybe that's my problem. I need a new mattress. Ryan, how are you feeling though? You haven't said anything yet. Oh, jerk. Okay, maybe you did say something. I just missed it. I love shrimp. Yes, best chairs for the aging hiney. And I say that with, I'm being totally honest. This chair that I'm sitting on is just a cheap old $30 chair I got at Walmart. And I have a pillow on it. So that way it cushions my old hiney. And you can ask Jess. After we get off the morning stream, I go straight to my sofa, carry my computer over there, and we keep on talking just because I got to get my butt off of this darn chair. It hurts. Is you showing any of the shrimpies you got? Sure. I'll show you some shrimpies. Shrimps. Let's check out some shrimpies. Of course, these are some Galaxy fish bones. Some of them are Galaxy pintos. Some of them are snowflakes, like that one right there. That's a snowflake. As you can see, that one's buried. I have a lot of tiny fry shrimplets in here. So I'm letting that colony grow. Here's some of my blue ones, blue steels, extreme blues. I got to do some calling on this, but these are some of the shrimp that I was showing last night because I'm trying to figure out which ones that I want to put in that new 20-gallon that I just scaped, or do I want to start with a whole new different strain? So that's something that I got to, hopefully y'all can help me decide. Hi, Triple J. Thanks for popping in. Hit that like. Appreciate it. Here's some PRLs. Now, these PRLs, I used to not think that I would like these as much as I do, but I really do like them. They're kind of cool. And some of the colors on this, I mean, the white is very, very white. The red is very, very red. And the consistency that I'm seeing from all of the offspring is pretty awesome. But I do want to, like that one that's in the back right there, that's got a higher grade pattern to it than some of the other ones. So I'm hoping to continue to work on that line. Again, here's the Galaxies. There's all kinds of different variations. And so once I get a little bit bigger colony, then I can start selective culling or selective breeding. So that way I can, stabilize the line. But there's tons of them in this tank. That's bad photography there. And then the next ones I think it's going to show are the fancy red tigers. I also do have some orange-eye blue tigers, some super crystal reds, shadow pandas, red King Kongs, my own, whatever they are, wild tangerine fancy tigers. Yeah, here's the red fancy tigers. I don't have these on my website yet because, as you can see, I got way more babies than I do adults, and I want them to grow up a little bit more before I start pulling them out. Hey, what's going on, Aquaballs? Paid way too much for my chair to have a hairball thrown up on it or claws sharpened on it. Yes. And at one time I did have a cat. Well, actually it was my wife's cat. And I hated that cat mainly because I had paid several $100s for a authentic Dallas Stars sweater. And I had it in my closet. And then I happened to pull it out to wear it for a game that I was going to. And there was all kinds of claw marks because the cat decided she needed to enjoy my sweater. It's the best way to put it. Yeah, I was pissed. All of those were Caradinas, Eduardo. Yeah, let me see here. I also have... I've got tons. I got tons of videos. I'm not sure if this video. Yeah. These are some of my blues again. This was a couple of months ago. I still had the wild tangerine tigers right here at the bottom. You could see one. It's an oddball. It's got white stripes. It's kind of a clear color to it. Yeah. So I pulled all of the babies that were like this one out, and I put them in their own tank over here. So I think they ended up with like two dozen or more that are in there. They haven't done anything yet as far as breeding or anything, but I'm not sure. Like some of the shrimp, they kind of stall out in the winter. So, yeah, those are those. More fancy red tigers again. And as you can see here, this is when there was more adults than there were fry. And they were all buried up nice and fat. Of course, PRLs. Love these things. And it's like I said, I never thought I'd like them because they're so, just normal. But I've come to really, really like them a lot. I mean, I just love the distinguishing colors between the bright white and the solid dark reds. It's very nice to look at, especially when you have a bunch of them in your tank. Let's see, more PRLs. This is an old video of when I originally got these Pintos and the Galaxy Pintos. This is at the house before the devastating fire. And this is Brightwell Cafe, Rio Cafe, or Cafe Rio, whichever they call on there. And so that's why when one of them died in this tank the other day, I wasn't too concerned because I've had these guys for such a darn long time. These are the fancy wild tangerine tigers. I mean, I don't know what to call them because they're not really tangerine anymore, and they're not really red. They kind of got a wild look to them, but they have the white stripes, which I don't know where that came from. But I'm trying to work with them. I'm trying to see what they will do, and kind of see what what my I put some I put one or a blue Caradina in with them, and then I put some of the culls from my Blue Bolt tank in there with them to kind of see. There's the mom, and you can tell she's not very orange or tangerine colored because I think she's old. But this is right now, this is my own project that I'm still working on. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how they're going to do, but they're really cool looking shrimp, and I'd like to see them breed once before I start letting them go, because people have asked me if they could get some of them from me, and I'd love to share them with you. But I want to see, is this line, is it just a one and done and they're going to all die out and never breed, or will they start breeding and will it be consistent? What's going to come up next? So if I can, once I find all of that out, then I might start letting some of these go. It's just, I don't want to sell you crap. I want whatever you get from me, I want it to make sure that it's good and it's thriving. And I'm pretty picky about what I get, where I get it from. I know I'm a pain in the butt that way, but that's why I've also ordered from almost everybody possible that I can, whether it's Brian, Flip, Bipet Shrimp, Joe's Shrimp Shack, the Shrimp Farm, Grant Eater. I mean, I've shared my opportunities because I want to see what everybody else does too and learn from them. Look at how fat she was. She was so ready to drop those. And that's kind of something me and Eduardo talked about. When you see that your shrimp are to the point to where they can't barely even keep the berries in underneath their belly anymore, that's probably time to get them out. And in that picture right there, in this picture right here, I had noticed that her eggs were starting to almost like she couldn't keep them in. So I put her in a breeder box, so that way after she had the fry, all I had to do was pull her out, and I didn't have to worry about trying to catch the fry out of the tank or anything like that. It really worked out really well. Play. Where was I? This is an Anansi, and look at her. She is beautiful. I had gotten her originally from Rob. He gave me or sent me a male and a female. And of course they started breeding, but look at her. I think this was her first batch of fry. And Priscilla got some from Swiss Aquatics. I sent her some. Jason from Jadron Aquatics got some, and the rest of them stayed with me. And unfortunately, they didn't make the move from Texas to Ohio and then Ohio to Arkansas. They didn't make it that long. So I lost out on that colony. But it was awesome. Yeah, she's beautiful. And I did all of this right here on my phone. No fancy camera. It was just my phone. And to watch this video, I watched it on a TV. Holy cow. And it's so cool seeing that big old shrimp on the TV screen. It's amazing. And I didn't know you could do that with the phone. I went and spent like $2,000 on a fancy DSLR camera, and I do better with my phone than I do with that camera, honestly. Now, photographs, I can take way better pictures with that camera than I can with my phone. So it's kind of a trade-off. See that right here, these were the baby Nanansis. This tank right here that you're looking at is at Flip Aquatics in the Caradina room before he changed it. So when she had her fry, I took all of the fry with me and the mama and went up there to Ohio and put them in an empty 20-gallon long that he had. He had two of them that were empty. One of them got with the Nanansi fry, and the other one had the Fishbone Galaxy fry. But yeah, that's there at Rob's or at Flip Aquatics. You can tell that's Brightwell substrate. And this, I still laugh at this when I see this. Because look at the goofy ass shrimp there. You know, just so y'all know, I hand drew that thing. And because I couldn't find a image that would work the way I wanted it to. So I hand drew the damn thing, and then I scanned it into Illustrator, and then I outlined it, and then I put it in Photoshop, and then I made it part of my logo. But look at the goofy ass eyes on this, and look at the legs. They're all stupid. It looks dorky. But what this is where, and maybe this will help you out, Allison. These shrimp right here, these were some of the very first shrimp that I started getting into. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, all of you experts, but this is what I call a blue velvet shrimp. There's some other blue shrimp that are a little bit cloudier than these ones, and I believe those are the blue jellies. Of course, on certain forums, I've seen where somebody asked a question, is this a blue jelly, a blue dream, or a blue velvet? And the responses were, they're all the same. Well, I have to disagree with that, because I believe there is a difference between the blue velvets like this, the blue jellies, which are a little bit more cloudy, and definitely the blue dreams. I think they're three different strains. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're all exactly the same. It's just a different color pattern, but I don't believe that to be the case. So these were some of my favorite shrimp. I've never been able to find quality this good as what I was getting in the beginning. And I got them from Aquatic Arts when I first started getting them. Then I ordered a second batch from a different company, and they weren't so hot. They ended up being more of like a blue really, kind of like a blue really, but they weren't really, really, but they weren't actually the blue velvets like this. So these were some of my favorites. And these were some of my very first shrimp way back in the day. Yeah, I like the deep blue color of the blue dreams, or I like the glassy color of these blue velvets. I do not like as much the blue jellies, because to me, I don't know. I like the glass look of these blues right here. Or I like the really, not really, but the super dark blue, blue dreams or fantasy blues or whatever you want to call them. I like blue shrimp. And now, same thing with my orange-eyed blue tigers. If I have a choice, I'd rather have an orange-eyed blue tiger that you can see the stripes on versus a royal blue tiger that just looks almost so blue that it looks black. That doesn't do much for me. Now, I know that in the shrimping community, that's what people are looking for. Oh, it's so blue, it looks black. That's the best looking. Maybe. But for me, I like to see a blue shrimp with the blue stripes. That is a beautiful, and I think even on this video, watch, let's see. Yeah, there he is. That's where did he go? Damn it. Where did he go? I probably only put like 2 seconds on there, so that's why it's so darn quick. Right there. That, to me, right there, that is a beautiful shrimp. That, to me, is an orange-eyed blue tiger. And like I said, once it gets to the point to where you can no longer see the distinction between the stripes and the blue coloration, and it's completely so blue that it looks black, to me, it doesn't do much for me. I like this. Yeah, and the orange eyes are awesome. It kind of looks creepy. The ones that and me and Priscilla talked about this a couple of years ago. She had shown me pictures of what they are calling the Terminator Shrimp, because it's a metallic orange-eyed shrimp that is so metallic it looks silver. It looks like the Terminator, and it's wicked looking. Oh my God. Now, I don't know how many there are out there. I just know that there was this one picture that she was sharing, and I think even Dan Slee, maybe she got the picture from Dan Slee. Maybe Brian even saw it, because I know Priscilla was ordering shrimp from Brian back then. But wow, that thing looked freaking awesome. The orange eyes and a silverish metallic looking body are just incredible looking. Wow. But I don't know if that was like a fluke, if that's an actual strain that people are working on and they've stabilized it, or is it just a every once in a while type of thing. I love the blue shrimp variations. Yes, I can't help it. Blue's my favorite color. So yeah, that's what got me started. Seeing my very first freshwater blue shrimp. I mean, that blew my mind. And that's why I went to started shrimping. You know, I didn't think it turned into what it has turned into, but it has, and I love it. You know, I don't regret it for a second. You know, I went to the Petco the other day, and the girl walked up and she was like, "Hey, it's the shrimp guy." And it made me laugh because I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And it's not very often that I'm out somewhere and somebody recognizes me, or I've had it happen a couple of times, which is cool. Hey, you're Papa Shrimp. And I was like, really? How'd you know? But she was like, hey, you're the shrimp guy. And I was like, yeah, I'll own it. I'm okay with that. So that's kind of cool. I doubt she's ever even been to my channel or anything like that, but I know she's seen me wear my Papa Shrimp shirt, and I talk about shrimp all the time because I love shrimp. I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp? I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
Woo-hoo. Let's see. I'm going to try to do this without, hopefully it doesn't blow your ears out. Be ready just in case you're wearing earplugs. That's a beautiful fish there. And I would have never thought that something so simple of a color would attract me so much. But those fish, the Neolaperlagus caudapunctatus, they're beautiful fish. I love them. Besides my shrimp. Did I tell her I'm Papa Shrimp and I love shrimp? No, I should have. It's the shrimp guy. Okay, so yeah, it was a Shelly. Neolaperlagus caudapunctatus. So basically, just to give you all a little bit, so the other day we talked about my relationship status, right? And so I'm an idiot. I'm a total idiot when it comes to how to play the game these days. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to talk to women the right way anymore. I mean, things have changed so much since I was on the market. And back in the day, I'll admit it, I would really, all I had to do was just go play my drums. That was it. The phone numbers came to me, all the talking and everything came to me. I didn't have to do anything. So I've been an idiot my entire life as far as, how to be a player. I'm not. I just go up there, play my drums, and next thing you know, I'm getting girls' phone numbers, and then we're talking, right? It was just the way it works. So here I am. I've been single now since my wife left in 2016, and I'm still trying to learn. The COVID didn't help, so that put a big strain on, my plans to try to go out and meet somebody because you really couldn't. Online dating doesn't work. But then I run across somebody like at the Petco, and I'm like, interesting. And then nothing. There is not a single thing I can come up with to have a catchy comeback or a witty saying or anything like that. And I feel like such an idiot because when she does do something like, hey, it's the shrimp guy, I'm all like, yeah, shrimp guy. See you later. And I run away. So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. So yeah, That can be a pickup line. Why? Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I've taken stickers up there and put them in my pocket so I could give her one, and then I haven't given her one. I get too nervous and I run away. Or I finally did say something because, they always ask you for your phone number at Petco. Do you have a phone number with us? And she's helped me every single time I've been in the store, no matter what. She'll see me from all the way across the store and get behind the counter when she sees me going to the line. So that way she's there to get my number. So that's what I told her the last time. I was able to manage that to where she said, you have a phone number with us? And I was like, oh, come on. You don't have it memorized by now? And she laughed. And she was like, yeah, the customers tell me that all the time. And then I was like, well, what do I say now? All right. I gave her my phone number. She logged it in and I was like, okay, bye. See you later. And I ran away. So I know I'm an idiot when it comes to that, but I can't help it. I don't know what to do. I can't tell. I don't know if she's flirting back with me or, we have good eye contact. So that's a good thing. She's always wearing her mask because she has a child at home. So I get that. But eye contact is important. I just don't know if I don't know if I'm too old. I don't know if she's too young. I don't know if she's married. I don't want to ask any questions. So I just run away. Right? Yeah. What do you do? Now, online dating doesn't work. I give up on all of that stuff. I want to go play my drums. And actually, I was invited to go out tonight and jam in town. We usually have a Thursday night jam in there. So they asked me to come out because it's been a while. But I don't know. I just want to meet people. I like meeting all of y'all. You'd be surprised how much entertainment this is for me. And maybe it is for you. Maybe it's entertaining to laugh at me. I'm a goofball. I don't care. But it really helps me a lot. And it makes me feel like I'm not stuck in a little island all by myself. Because I have all of you to be my friends and my family. So thank you. What are y'all talking about is up Matt's butt? Hard to turn shrimp into a pickup line. Hey, do you want to see something small? You want to see my shrimpies? Oh, I asked her the other day. I did ask her, hey, do you have any aquariums at home? She was like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't want to mess it up. And I knew that's like the window, Jerry, window. It's open. Jump through it. And I should have said, hey, I'll help you out. But no, I ran away. And I don't mean like I actually ran, but it feels that way when I get stuck and I'm like, well, I don't know what to say now. Awkward. And I just turn and leave. I don't know. I don't know what to do. See, I thought about that, Dave. I know. I've thought about that too. But I'm a chicken, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to do this. And I don't know if I'm going to sound like an idiot or sound like a 20-something trying to pick up a girl, which I probably would. I'm so, hey, baby, you come here often? I don't know how that works. I really don't. Oh, well. Live and you learn. Eventually. Stop running. She thinks you're weird and tells you to F off. Who doesn't think I'm weird? I don't mind. I own it. And I've always told my boys that. When my son used to come home from school, he was like, Dad, we're kind of weird. And I was like, I know. Own it, son. Own your nerdiness. Nothing wrong with it. I don't mind. I know I'm weird. This, Jerry, needs to turn into an intervention. Do you have tanks at home? No. Oh, does your husband not like them? Oh, I'm not married. See, I've thought about that too. The other day when she said she had a child at home, I should have said, oh, is the child or your daughter at home with the hubby? you know. But again, I got all and run away. Oh, it's not that bad. It really is. But yes, it is. I run away. I can't help it. Yep, being told you're weird and to F off really helps build that courage for the next person you meet. Meet? Did you spell that wrong on purpose? Why do I run? Because I'm bashful. I get I get shy. And yeah, probably, probably the whole self-confidence thing is probably lacking, just because it's been 6 years of being alone, and I don't know if what I'm saying even is relevant anymore, or what do the cool kids say and what do they talk about, and she said, well, what do you do? Shrimp. I love shrimp. Everything shrimp. It's all about shrimp. The answer will always be no. I know I should. I appreciate all of the see, right? And Sherry knows it's hard, especially what do you do? What do you say? You just, hi. Bye. Run away. I know, but I don't want to hear no. Man, I guess it doesn't matter. I tell my children this all the time. The worst that can happen is they can say no. Go for it, man. Don't be such a chicken shit. Those who dare wins. Yeah, so I understand that. I know. It's just got to take that leap of faith. I know. Eventually I will. As a matter of fact, I almost went to the store yesterday again to see if I could further our conversation. But I overthink it. And that's probably my biggest problem is I've overthought it way. I've overthought it way too much, Eduardo. So yeah, I have like 12 million things I want to say. And when they all come hit me at once, I'm like, I don't know what to say. So I'll just run away. Hey, nice rhyme. I got to learn how to keep it shrimple, even when just talking to people. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Does Brooklyn give good advice? Yeah. See, okay, we're going to go away from that. And since we've been going for shit, I'm sorry, I keep cussing. We've been going for 2 hours, man. Wow. Thank you very much. This has been awesome. It's been fun. I didn't think we'd go 2 hours with just me by myself. With Brian, oh yeah, definitely. Me and Brian can go hours and hours. We've done it before. Where next thing you know, 3.5 hours later, we're still streaming. But by myself, usually doesn't really. I'm so used to just doing the hour. Sounds like you could use some therapy, and all of us. Speaking of, nice, Sherry. That's a beautiful segue. So, I got a message earlier from Mississippi Hippie Fishies. I like how you added that in there. and she was explaining, oh crap, it's not on here. She was explaining that she has a stream on Saturday. And so what she did was that after listening to Alex and some of the things he said this morning on the history portion of the news, she wants to do a group therapy for multi-tank syndrome people. So that's what the theme is on her stream this coming Saturday. So please go check it out. Mississippi Hippie Fishies. She'll be doing a live stream Saturday. I think it's either at 5 or 6 p.m. Central. You can correct me, Sherry. But it's the premise around it is that it's going to be group therapy for all of us that are affected with multi-tank syndrome. Pretty cool, huh? And I know a lot of us are. Some of us aren't yet, but we will at some point. You know, it always happens that way. I don't care. You get one aquarium and you do good with it, you'll end up with 2 or more. It just because you have so much fun. And then you start realizing, hey, I can do this. Let me do another one. Oh, okay. Wow. She already had it planned. So group therapy for multi-tank syndrome. Go there, watch it, hang out. I'm sure a bunch of us need it. I like the little meme or whatever you want to call it of the fish on the couch. Yep, that's about right. At Papa Shrimp, my late father and middle brother can fix you up down in South America, Brazil. And if you want a road trip to Laredo, Texas, come to the Rio Grande into Mexico. My mother, baby brother. I'm actually from Laredo, Patrick. My family is in Laredo. Most of my family, well, my surviving family is from Laredo. My grandmother is buried in Laredo with my grandfather. My father was from Ensenada, which is about 30 miles north of Laredo. Both my parents are here at the National Cemetery in Grand Prairie. So, but yeah, that's originally where I was from. MTS is your therapy. Yes. And for me, it is too. That's actually, I only had 6 aquariums when I had my first heart attack. And then 3 months later, I had 40 some odd aquariums. So yeah, I used it as therapy, relaxation therapy, stress therapy, anxiety therapy. And because I was going through a bit of depression and just being scared shitless after having a heart attack. I just multiple tanks. That was the best therapy ever. It's about challenges and rewards of MTS. That's cool. That'll be fun. If you're not doing anything Saturday, what time was it? Did you say, Sherry? Or did you say? I guess I could look at the calendar on the Fish Fam. You didn't say. Yeah, proud to be an MTS addict. I love shrimp and multi-tank syndrome. I love shrimp and multi-tank syndrome. Yes, my hair grew. I stopped cutting it about the same time that I started getting into my aquariums. And I was starting to get so fed up with my corporate job, and they hired a manager at the same level as I was, and he had a ponytail. And I'm sitting there looking at him, really? I cut my hair for nothing? This guy, you hire him and he's got a ponytail. And I was like, that's it. And I stopped cutting my hair and I stopped shaving my face because I used to be all baby face and buzzed haircut. So, yeah. But like I said, we're a little bit over 2 hours. So I really, I got some stuff I need to do and get taken care of. And I'm sure y'all do too. I appreciate y'all hanging out, having fun with me. I'm sorry Brian didn't make it, but he's doing like adulting stuff and being all responsible. I don't know what's got into that guy that he's, being responsible and stuff, but whatever, to each his own, Hi, Ginger. Oh yeah, you ran me off. But yeah, it's been a couple of hours now, and I appreciate everybody hanging out. It's pretty cool that so many of you came and were engaged and had some fun with me on a pop-up stream. And I'm sorry if it disappointed you that Brian wasn't here, but obviously it didn't disappoint you too much because y'all hung out with me. So have an awesome Thursday. I'm sure Brian will be popping up and doing a stream, so come hang out with us whenever we do that. And if not, we'll see you Saturday at the group therapy. And I'll definitely probably see y'all in the morning tomorrow at the morning show. So y'all have a good one. Peace out. Thank you very much. I love shrimp.